What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about a graphic novel that I finished earlier this week. Robin, Son of Batman, Year of Blood. This collects Robin, Son of Batman issues 1 through 6, as well as the Robin, Son of Batman sneak peek issue. And this is, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this is the best Robin solo story that I've ever read. Now, I want to go ahead and say I haven't read every single Robin solo story out there. Pretty much everything from the 1970s, where Dick Grayson was in. It wasn't his own like Robin series, but he had his own stories in a title that was not called Robin. I haven't read any of that, and Tim Drake, I've only read a few stories from his series from the 90s. But this is better than all of the Robin stories that I have read, and I think the reason that I like it so much is that while I like a few of the Robins, most of the time when you take like Dick Grayson or Tim Drake and put them in their own solo series, basically the stories that you're going to tell are just going to be Batman-like stories. When Robin is in Gotham City fighting other villains who are not main A-list Batman villains, usually you're going to be creating villains who are kind of similar to Batman's Rogues Gallery, and they're just Robin villains instead of Batman villains. What I like about this book is that this thematically and tonally feels different than any other Robin solo series, while at the same time it doesn't feel too far divorced from the main Batman line, if you will. Mainly because Damian Wayne is the main character here, you're able to do stories of redemption here that you really wouldn't be able to do with Dick Grayson or Tim Drake, because there's nothing for those characters to actually redeem in themselves. Whereas Damian Wayne, when he was first introduced, he was cutting people's heads off, and he was working for the League of Assassins, and he's already fighting on the side of the Angels by the time this story starts. In fact, his redemption started way back in like 2010 when the Batman and Robin series by Grant Morrison and Cameron Stewart, when that series started, he was already fully entrenched on the side of the Angels. He had completely divorced himself from being an agent of the Al Ghul family. But this is taking him and saying, okay, he still did a whole lot of bad stuff and he needs to atone for that. And it's a really fantastic story, and I don't want to give a whole lot away because I want people to read this. If you are a fan of Batman, if you're not a fan of Damian Wayne, I know there's a lot of people out there who really hated Damian Wayne, especially when he was introduced. If you really hate Damian Wayne and you don't think that there's anything that's going to change your mind on that, you might want to give this book a skip. If you're more on the fence about Damian, if you're thinking, well, I didn't really like him in a lot of the stories I read, I would say give this one a shot. This is a really good story. It's written and drawn by Patrick Gleason. Gleason is a guy I'm not familiar with any of his work. He was working with Peter Tomasi on the Batman and Robin series after Grant Morrison left Batman, and that must have been really great stuff because his art here is phenomenal, and I am very excited to go back and read that stuff, which I haven't read. Go back and immerse myself in it just because of Gleason's artwork, which is extraordinary, and he's also not a bad writer. I would say sometimes artists can make the jump and become artists/writers, and sometimes they have a little bit more trouble doing it. Gleason is somebody who can totally pull it off. I am very excited to see some of the other stuff that he'll be doing where he is writing and drawing the comic book. But overall, if you are a Batman fan, but maybe you haven't read a lot of newish Batman stories, I would say go ahead and give this book a shot. It's very good. I highly recommend it, and it's one that I am going to be rereading many times in the coming years. So that's all that I have to say about Robin, Son of Batman, Year 1, or Year of Blood, not Year 1. And if you guys like this video, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later in the week with some other videos. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.